Hey there, you are welcome back. Today we are going to learn about the essential fundamentals of HTML or hypertext markup language. And at the end of this video, we are going to build this page together with just HTML. Our case study is going to be building a basic landing page for a barbershop. This web page is going to contain the logo of the barbershop and also some pictures and captions. It's going to also contain a section for the hairstyles that are available in the barbershop and the pricing and some other media that the business wants to showcase on their landing page, and also an about section that talks about the business. And lastly, we are going to have the contact us section, and above it we also have a navigation section where users can easily navigate from one section to another. And also this makes it easier for users to jump to a particular section whenever they want. At the end of this video, we are going to put all the basics we are going to learn into building this simple web page. First, let's discuss why you should be learning HTML. You see, HTML is the only popular markup language that the browser understands. Imagine the browser as a blank canvas where we can write text, draw characters, or pin images. We can create more visuals on the browser using HTML. Over 95.7% of the websites you visit on your browser are built with HTML, including popular websites like google.com, x.com, ashnode.com, youtube.com, linkedin.com, and instagram.com. So let's take a look at what these websites have in common. So I have some of the most popularly visited websites opened on my tab here, and let's take a look at what they have in common. So the most obvious one is this Google here. So, and as you can see, it is an image. So this is an image because when I drag it, you can see that I can move it around. But if it's a text, I should be able to highlight it like this. So number one, there is an image here on Google. So let's see if we can spot image on other websites as well. So on X, we can see an image here as well. Over here, so if I click on this, you can see that there is an image too. You can see if I drag it, it's draggable like this. So image is common between Google and Twitter, which is also X. So let's move on to Ashnode. On getting to Ashnode as well, we have an image here, we have an image here as well. There's an image, and then we also have this image, we have this image, we also have this image. So basically these are just cover images and profile pictures, and another profile picture here as well. So on X as well, there should be profile pictures. So I have profile pictures here, and on Google there's profile pictures. So what that means is like images are common between Google, X, and Ashnode. So let's go to YouTube as well. You can see we have image here. This is like a cover image, though it's being used as a background image. We also have this image. We have this image, cover images. We have these thumbnails. So these are called thumbnails for videos, while these are called cover images. So they are still under the umbrella of image. So YouTube also has a profile image, as we can see here, and we can see some of them over here as well. So images are common. Now let's move on to LinkedIn. On LinkedIn as well, we have my colleague here, Alexandro. So this is a profile image of him. This is a picture of me as well, and this is also a picture which is a picture uploaded by the user as well. So there is an image on LinkedIn as well. So moving on to Instagram, we also have image on Instagram. You can post image on Instagram. You can also post videos as well. So now that means like image is common between this popular website. So moving on, another thing we can spot here is text. So text is on Google. If you go to Twitter, you can see that we have text. You can post text on Twitter, and on Ashnode as well, you can see we have some text here. We also have some text here, and which means it is common. On YouTube as well, we have some text. We have text over here as well. On LinkedIn, we have text as well, and on Instagram we have some text as well. So now we know that images are common, we know that text are common, and now you can see this component as well, which we can write text. So we can search here on Google. So this is known as input box. So this is an input box, and on Twitter we have something similar, which if you want to write about your tweet, you can just write it here. I word or anything you want to write. And we also have similar thing here, an input box where we can search for anything on Twitter. So for you to be able to search, you have to enter here and it takes in your input. And on Ashnode as well, we have the same thing here where we can search for any article, let's say React or HTML article, and then we are going to get the result over here. And then on YouTube as well, we have the same component here for searching, which takes in our inputs to search for videos. You can see it here as well. And also on LinkedIn, we have an input box to create new posts, and we also have the search component as well. So you can see, like, these are the common things that all these websites have, and it makes sense for us to learn them as well. So moving on to Instagram, we also have the search component where we can enter. If you want to search for a user, you can just search for a user here as well. Likewise, you can see we have for the comment. If you want to comment, you just have to type. So another thing that is common between them is button. So you can see this is a button that is actually clickable. So if I say search for Unclebigbay and then I click on Google search, that's a button that allows me to trigger a search on Google. And on Twitter as well, when I'm done with my post, I can click on the post button. So you can see post. So this is a button, this is a button as well. If I click on this button, an action is going to take place, and then this modal is going to appear. And on Ashnode as well, you can see that we have the right button. So once I click this right button, it's going to take me into the editor. So there's a button here as well. And on YouTube as well, we also have a button here. It has an icon, unlike the text that others have been having. So there are different ways in which you can design your button. So this is also, we can call this a button as well, because it's clickable. And then the same thing here, if you click this, it's going to search whatever you've entered. And also we have button here to go to customize a channel or manage the video. And on LinkedIn as well, we have a button. So you can see this floating button that we have here for new post, which means when I click on this button, it's going to refresh my feed and then I can see the latest one. And if I go to my profile, you can see there's a button here as well to view my profile. And if I click on start post, if I write some things, you can see that the button here is also available for me to click. So that's basically it. And then if we go to Instagram, we can also see that we have some buttons. If we come here, so you can see similar to what we have on LinkedIn, we have the new post button here, and once I click it, it's going to refresh my page, and then I can see the latest post. Now that we know some of the things that websites have in common, we are going to proceed to learn more about how to achieve them. So to begin building websites with HTML or hypertext markup language, we need to firstly understand how those things we saw on the website are being created or rendered. So we will look into what we call HTML element syntax. So the syntax for an HTML element is a tag name wrapped around in a less than and greater than character, followed by the content, and then we have the less than tag followed by the backslash and the tag name followed by the greater than tag. I know this can be confusing, but you need to get familiar with all these characters. So basically, to write HTML code, you are going to be working with a lot of tags, and to write tags, these are basically the syntax. We have an opening tag, the content, and then we have the closing tag. So this is basically going to wrap around all the text that we've been seeing on all these websites. Remember, we have an opening tag, and then the content, and then followed by the closing tag. So moving on, we are going to be discussing about HTML basic code. The HTML basic code is the minimum required code for writing a web page using HTML. The first syntax we are going to be seeing in an HTML basic code is a doc type HTML. This tag is not the standard HTML tag because it is the only tag you will see in an HTML code that has an exclamation, which is actually different from what we discussed on the last slide. So this tag is basically used to pass information to the browser on what type of document we are rendering. So this allows the browser to actually render the document as expected. So we have other versions of HTML that we can also specify, like HTML version 4 or XML. But with this, we are using HTML, which is also refers to as HTML5. The second tag here is HTML. The HTML tag is a common tag and it is a compulsory tag in an HTML code. And this is the only tag that wraps around every other tags in your code. So for this as well, we can also specify the type of language that our code is being written. So if it is being written in English, you can put en. If it is being written in any other language, you can also specify it here. So this allows the browser to render things appropriately and also to tell every other visitors the kind of language that you are rendering. So the next one is the head tag, and the head tag is a tag that contains every information about a web page. So information such as the encoding of the characters that you have. Maybe you are building a website in Arabic, so you want to specify the character encoding here so that it's going to appear properly. So we have another meta tag which named is viewport. So the viewport means how the document is going to be displayed on the browser, things you can see on the browser. So we can specify how we want our document to scale. Should it be small? Should it be big? But with the default configuration, we want the browser to render the document based on the size of the screen. So if you are viewing it on the mobile phone, it should display as it should be on the mobile phone, and when it is being displayed on a larger screen, it should also fit in for a larger screen as well. So the next tag we have here is the title tag. So the title tag is basically a tag that shows the title of the page. So this is very common and you'd have actually seen it before. If you go to any website like YouTube, you will see a title here, code with Unclebigbay, and if you go to Google, google.com, you will also see it up here as well. So if you are on Google, you can see the title of another page, so it allows you to quickly identify what you have open. And if you go here, you can see this is Google title. So this is the title page that we saw in the code base. So that is what we have for the head, the minimum requirement that is needed in the head. So we need the meta and chassis. So we also have the name for viewport. This is for encoding. We have the title for the page title to show on the browser tab, and everything in the head is not going to be visible on the browser except for the title. So moving on now, we have the body tag. So the body tag is where we are going to be writing our HTML, text, images, and any other things you see on the browser. So anything you see in the browser, that is definitely coming from the body. So this is where we are going to be writing our HTML code and structure. So before we start writing code, I want you to have this mentality, like the web or website has to do with two things. It has to do with input and output. When you want to get started with any website or Twitter, you have to create an account. That is input. You have to input your informations like name, email, your month of birth. That is how they know when to show balloons on your profile page. And after this, we have the output. The output are the information that we've already provided during the input stage. So as a developer, you need a way to take input from the user, and also you have to learn how to output the information to the user after you've already collected them. So this is the approach we are going to be using to learn. We are going to be learning how to take input and also how to display output. Another example is when you want to register on Instagram. They are going to ask you for your phone number and email. They will ask you for your full name. They will ask you for your username. They will ask you for your password. To ask for your username and password, the developer that works on this knows how to make use of HTML tag to collect your information. Using the correct HTML tags allows him to design this page, which has a button, which is an option to sign in using Facebook, or to provide this information by typing in the characters. So you are also going to learn what are the HTML tags that we can use to achieve this. So the output of Instagram is to display the username and full name that they've collected during the input stage, and including the profile picture. You know, to upload profile picture, you have to trigger the window box to select your image. You will also learn the correct tag to use for this as well. So that's basically the approach that we're going to be taking to learn on this channel. So enough of talking, let's proceed to our VS Code and start writing HTML. So to begin with, launch your VS Code application, and then you should have a window like this. Next, we are going to create a new folder and name it Barbershop. Barbershop. You can create this folder anywhere you want, on your desktop, in your documents, anywhere you want it to be. And this is where our source code is going to be in. So now what we want to do next is to drag in the folder inside of the VS Code window. So as you can see now, we have the Barbershop open, and if you get this notification, you can just click on yes, I trust the author, or click trust the author for all files in the parent folder desktop. So if you don't want to keep getting this notification, you can just check this box and then you click on yes, I trust the authors. So you will not get the notification anytime you try to open a new folder using this method. So the folder now is being opened. You can see the Barbershop here. You can also see it here as well. So the next thing we will do now is to create our file. So I'm going to make this big now, and now I'm going to create a new file and name it as index.html. So the file extension for an HTML code is .html. So just like any other document format that we have on computer, like .pdf or .doc, for HTML, we make use of .html. So that's what we are going to be using to save our file. So saving it allows the computer to identify what kind of application can open this kind of file. For example, if we head back to our Barbershop folder and then we open it, we are going to see the index.html that we have on our VS Code. And when we double click on this, we are going to see the file being opened on our browser. So the .html that we have in the file name allows the computer to identify what kind of document format it is and what kind of application can open it. So if you go back to VS Code now and then we write something like hello world, and then we hit save, Control S. If we go back to our browser and then we refresh, then we are going to see the hello world on our browser. So if we go back to the VS Code again and then we do add hello friend body, if we come back, you will see that we didn't get the updates immediately. We need to refresh the browser before we can see any updates that we add to the source code here. So this means like our HTML code can now be previewed on the browser. So this is majorly an ordinary text, so nothing fancy yet, and we are now going to proceed to be looking into how we can actually start writing code in HTML. But before we begin that, it's going to be very tedious for us to be writing code, save it, and then go back to the browser to refresh. So there's this extension on VS Code known as the live server. So this live server will be taking care of refreshing the browser every time we make a change to our HTML file or any other file in our code base. And to install the live server, you can head to this extension icon on your VS Code. It's going to be the same thing, even if your sidebar is by the left, because mine is by the right. So click on the extension icon over here, and then you can make a search of live server. So just wait for it to pop up, and then you are going to see the first one. Ensure you are clicking on the first one that has 43.6 million users. So this extension has been downloaded 43 million times. That's a lot. And then you can see we have over 470 reviews. We have other extension for this as well, but this is the most used and most preferred. So you can go ahead and then click on install. So you see the installation button here. So click on the button, and then once it is installed, you are going to see the disabled button and then the uninstall button. You also see this extension is enabled globally. And to be sure that it is already installed on your VS Code, or it is successfully installed, you want to check the option here to go live. So you see the option here to go live. That means the live server is successfully installed. So now we'll head back to our index.html. We can close this tab, and then we can head back to our explorer over here. So we have the index.html. So there are two ways in which we can start our live server. The first one is by clicking the go live here, or we can right click on any part of the index.html file and then click on open with live server. And if it is already running, if you want to stop it, you can use the stop live server. But the easiest way is just by clicking the go live button here. So once the server is up, you are going to see that it is being opened on a new tab. But the difference that we have there is we are still going to have the same output here, but the only difference that we are going to be having is where the file path is coming from. Initially, when we open directly from our folder, we see that we have this path. We have this file path over here. We have users on Unclebigbay, desktop, Barbershop, index.html. But with live server, you will see that we have a port. So this is called a port. This is an address on our system. So this is an address, this is a port, and this is the file. So what this does is like it's going to start a server, and then the server is going to listen to any change. So if you are making any change in your file, the server is going to be aware, and then it's going to refresh this particular web page. So let's go ahead and then add some more text to our index.html and see the difference between these two. Here now I can, okay, so we are getting that because we don't have any we don't have the minimum required HTML code, so it's complaining that it doesn't have the head tag and all. So what we can do here is we can just type new text over here, and then let's check. So you can see now that we don't actually have any updates yet, and the reason is because we don't have an head tag yet. So what we want to do now is just to proceed. You can see now it's saying live reload is not possible without a head or body tag. So you already know what an head tag is and what a body tag is. The head tag is where we put all the attributes of a web page, and the body tag is where we should be actually writing all of these text and not just pasting them directly here. So so I'm just going to cancel these, and then we'll just proceed to like writing the standard HTML. We'll just close this welcome tab. So what we need to do now is to cut this out, and we can actually write out the minimum required HTML code, but VS Code makes it much easier for us. We don't have to memorize it. We can know the meaning, but we don't really have to memorize it word for word. There is this short code that we can use to bring out the minimum required HTML code, so which we can just press Shift key and 1, and then we are going to see this. So this is called emet. So they are like short code for code snippets on VS Code. They are code that we always use. So VS Code makes it easier for us to reuse them by giving us shortcut key that we can use to bring them out. So they are called emet. So I can click the first one, and then it's going to give us the minimum required HTML code. So this is universal, so you don't really have to like memorize them, memorize everything for now. But when you see a tag like this, just try as much as possible to be able to tell what it does. So, but you don't have to memorize everything line by line. So, as we said, this is a type of the HTML that we want to be writing. This is HTML5. We are specifying that this document is HTML, and then the language is English. And then we have the head tag, which contains all the informations and properties of our HTML file. So this is the encoding version in case you want to use any special character. We are telling the browser to use this encoding format to encode them. And then we have the name port meta. So we are telling the browser as well that it should render this the document, this HTML page. It should view them in the normal scale of the device. So if you are viewing it on your mobile phone, it should display properly on the mobile phone. And if you are displaying on desktop, you don't want it to display as a mobile on the desktop. You want it to full the whole screen on the desktop. And for the documents, so this is going to be shown on the tab, something like this on the browser. We are going to be seeing it shortly. And then we have the body. So we just move our content here to hello world body new text. So with this now, let's just save. So we can head back here, and then we still have the same thing. So you notice like we have document over here. So the document is coming from the title tag, and then if I refresh here as well, we have the document here as well. So now let's add a new text and see which one of the two tabs are going to be refreshed automatically. So if I come here now and then into brackets new text, and then let's save. So let's go back now. So you can see we have the new text here automatically without having to refresh the browser. But for over here now, we don't have a new text until we refresh. So if we add another new text here, and then we go back, you can see we don't have the updated one here, but over here we have the updated version here. So it might not really be significant now. You might not see the difference now because we are still working with smaller text. But if you are working on a large code base that requires you to see the update immediately, the extra step of having to refresh every time might be a lot. So live server comes and then it does the job perfectly. So I'm just going to close this, and then we only make use of the live server. So the first thing we want to do now is since we are going to be working on a barber shop, so we are going to change this title to barber shop. So if we go back to our browser, you are going to see that we have the barbershop on our title. So that's just the usefulness of the title tag. So, and it should always be in the head tag. So if I put it on the body tag, it's still going to show at the top here, but it's not going to show in the body. But this is not the right way to go about it. It should always be in the head. So always put it in the head tag. So moving on, the first thing we want to look into is how do we render text properly. So like I said, we have the rend tags in HTML to render text, images, videos, or any other things that you've been seeing on the web. So the first one we are going to be looking into is how we can render text on the browser. So we have tags like the h1 tag. These h1 tags are heading tags. So we have h1 to h6. So we can change this to h2, h3, h2, h4. We have h5, and then we have h6. So these are the heading tags that we have from h1 to h2. So what we can do is we can have like heading 1. This is heading 1. Let's have heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5, and then heading 6. So let's change this to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So when we go back to our browser, you can see that we have heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5, and heading 6. So what if we don't put this in any tag and just put them out here? So let's see, we have heading 1, heading 2, 3. This is 3. Let's see, we have 4, we have 5, and then we have 6. So let's see the difference between like when we have them like this and when we put them in a tag. So you can see like these have the same font display, like they have the same style, but with each one using the correct tag, they have different sizes. So this is larger and it is more bolder, followed by the H2, and then the H3, H4, H5, and then the H6, which is the smallest, but it is still bold, and it has a different display compared to not using any HTML tag. So the heading tags, basically, when you are even writing, we always have heading. When you are writing maybe like a letter, you are writing a document, there is always an heading. We also have subheading as well. So you can use H1 or H2 as the heading. If you now want a subheading, you can use H2. So if you are familiar with using Google Docs or Windows documents, you should be familiar with headings. Moving on with this, we also have some other tags that we can use to render text on the browser. We also have the p tag. So there's this extension that I just used. Like when you write the name of a tag that is valid, the emmet that comes pre-installed with VS Code, well, you can just click this and then it's going to give you the full tag, so you don't have to be typing like this. Even if you just write the opening tag, VS Code is going to complete it for you. Let me do that again. So if you write P now, it's going to close it for you. So that is the standard way of writing HTML. So we always have an opening tag and then we have the closing tag. So now with this, we can have the paragraph, yeah, and then we can hit save, go back to the browser. So there's no need of refreshing. You can see now that we have the paragraph, and this is actually having a different display compared to the remaining headings that we have. So we usually use paragraph to display text like the regular text on the browser, while we use the H1 to H6 for any heading. So the next tag we also have is we have a span tag, and for this span tag we can say span, and then let me make this capital letter, and then when we go back, you can see that we have this span tag here as well. So we also have the span tag. So the difference between the paragraph and the span tag is, let's say we make a duplicate of this. So I'm just going to copy this and then paste it here, and let's hit save. You can see now that we have a paragraph here, we have another paragraph here on a new line. But what if we make a copy of the span tag and then we paste it here and hit save? You can see that we have the span tags on the same line. So the difference between a span tag and all of these tags is because all these tags are called block elements. They are block elements in the sense that they don't allow any other element to stand beside them. So they push any element that comes next with them, they push it to a new line. But for the span, it is very, very accommodating. So they allow other elements to be on the same line as them. So that's basically the only difference that they have. It is their display. So HTML tags have what we call as display property. Display property means that you can see that this is bolder and it is bigger compared to this, and all of these now are block elements because they don't allow any other elements to be beside them. But for this, it is called an inline element. They allow other elements to stand beside them. So we are going to go deep into the display property of elements in HTML during the CSS series. So for now, we are able to display text on our browser properly. And the next thing we are now going to be looking at is we are going to be using these tags to create our Barbershop website. So I'm just going to delete all of this. And the first thing we are going to start with is we are going to start with an hero session. So anytime you visit a website, the first session you are always seeing is called an hero session. And for every sessions, we are going to be using the session tag or the div tag. So we have other tags. We only talk about the tags that are being used to display text. There are also some tags that are used to group each sections, and these are called div or section tag. We have other tags as well, but if you are comfortable using either of these two, that's just fine. So, and now we have the div tag. So we have div tag, and then we also have the section tag. So there's no difference between these two tags, like we have with the heading tags and the span tag. The only difference with this is just their name. Section makes sense, like, okay, this is a section, but div, division, it doesn't really make sense straight away. So this is what we know as semantic tags, why this is non-semantic tags. So non-semantic tags are tags that doesn't really have a meaning. Div doesn't really have a human meaning directly, but a section has a meaning. We also have another tag known as article. So this one has a meaning, this is an article, so it's going to be used to be a container for anything that has to do with like a group of things like article. Maybe you want to build a block card, so you can use it for that. We also have another tag known as the aside. So aside makes sense because if you want a section to be by the side, maybe you just want it to be maybe like maybe by the left or right, or you just want it to be differentiated from every other section, so you can use aside as well. So these are the different type of tags that we have. So as time goes on, don't really worry about like, oh, I have to memorize all of these tags. What you just have to do is like try to just use either of these two. That's fine. And as time goes on, you will naturally start using finding reasons to use article and aside. But if you don't really know what this does, you don't really have to bother much. Just stick to either of these two for grouping a group of HTML elements. So that's basically it. And for now, we are going to be sticking with section. So I have the browser over here, and then I have the source code here, so that it will be easier to see the output at the same time. So the next thing we are going to do now is we are going to have an H1 tag, and then with the text of welcome to Barbershop. So once I save, you can see the output here immediately. So that should be much easier. So I'll just make this welcome to Barbershop, and then we have it this way. And secondly, we are now going to make use of the p tag. We can actually make use of any other tag. Like I said, you can make use of any other tag. And then we want to have some text here. So I could just place this text here. We can see we have the text here displayed after the h1 tag. So the reason I'm using the p tag is because these are just text, so it makes sense. This is the heading, welcome to Barbershop, and then this is like a regular text, and then that's why I'm using the p tag. I can also come here and use the h2 tag, which is fine, and I can just do the p tag. So yeah, so that's what we are going to use. And we are going to be needing images because images is part of what we saw that popular websites have in common. So we are going to look for an image to use here as well. So I have some images that I have gotten from online. I got this from online, and then I've designed this. So you can also look for any images that you want to use, and look for any Baba images and any logo. I also make this available for you so that you can also use. Yeah, so just ensure that the images are on the same folder as the index.html. So this is how it's going to look. You will have the index.html, the logo, and then pabbing. So just ensure that you remember the name that you use to save the images. So that's basically what is needed in using images. Over here now, since we already have the images in the same folder as the index.html, if you check the Explorer here, you can see that we have the Barbing image, and then we have the logo of the barbershop. So once you've done it correctly, you should see the index.html and the images like this. So this basically how it should look like. So the next thing we want to do is I'm just going to make this 100%. So this is how it's going to look like. Um, so the next thing we want to do now is in between here, we want to have the image tag. So this image tag is a type of tag that is different from the regular text tag because it is a self-closing tag, which means like it is not written as this. It is not written as this. You can see like we're already having some issues while we are trying to use it like this. So assuming I do p tag, VS Code is going to complete it automatically for us, like I said earlier. But for image, if you do something like this, it's not going to automatically close it for you because it is not a valid tag like that. So the image tag is a self-closing tag, a tag that closes itself. It doesn't have a closing tag. So self-closing tag just have a back slash and then you provide other attributes here. So now that we want to use an image tag, what we need to do is to specify the location of the image. So the location of the image is where the image is. So starting from the index.html is just like this is index.html. We want to reference the image from the index.html file. So we would now want to point to where the image is actually is. So we are going to use the src attribute. So the src attribute allows us to specify where the image is so that the image can actually display it from there. So we can now do specify by doing dot slash. So this is a feature on VS Code. It gives you the resources that are available in a path. So this is a path. So you can also see that we have it on our browser AI slash index. So this is how path works in computer generally. So I can just do slash and then I can see Barbing index and logo. So we would need the logo here. So once I click on the logo and then I hit save, you can see that we have the image here. So just ensure that the image is actually beside the index.html. So if it is not beside it, you have to use a different part. So, but if it is not there, you have to just specify where it is. So just ensure that you are seeing something like this. So now that we have the image showing properly, we can now proceed to move on to the next one. So for here, I will just change this to H2 so that just to make it more bigger so you can see more than just the hair. We are a partner in crafting a signature look that reflects your unique personality. So we are just going to follow this with another image where the barber is actually cutting the hair. So we can come here and do image tag, then specify the source, and then let's close this. And then we can do dot from this directory, and then we can see everything that we have. You can also do slash without the dot, that's fine. And then we can use the bobbin. So you can see what we have. So you can use the dot or ignore it. So that's fine as well. In another video, I'm going to be doing a more detailed explanation on parts in HTML, how you can use relative and absolute parts. That's what we are going to be talking in another video. For now, just ensure that the image is beside index.html. Yeah, so we have this image now. We have this image here now. So the next thing we want to do now is we want to have another session. So I think something broke here. Okay, so this should be section. Yeah, so when I was trying to do the closing and opening tag, so I think I messed it up. So we have this section here, and yeah, so that's how it's going to look like. So we have the hero section, and the next thing is we are going to have another section, and this section is going to be the hairstyle section. You know, we've from here now we've welcomed the user to the barbershop. We've displayed the logo of the barbershop. We've also add some copies here and some nice images that we want to add. So if I show this on a larger screen now, you see what it looks like this. So Now we just want to add the hairstyles are available in the shop, because we've shown an illustration that okay, we are going to be barbing here, so we are trying to tell the user that these are the styles that you can actually barb in the shop. So the first thing we'll do is we are going to have an H2 tag. So the H2 tag is just going to be like another heading for this particular section. So what we are going to do here is just to have a text here. So I already have all this text already so that I don't have to be brainstorming. So we have hairstyles you need to try in 2024. So since we want to have a list of all the hairstyles, there's a tag that we use to make list. So list always have like bullets or number. So and there's a tag for that as well. So we can just make use of uh, the UL tag. So this UL tag means unordered list. So unordered list means like lists that are not ordered. So they are just listed, but they are not numbered using uh, alphabets or using numbers. So with this now, we can now use the LI tag. So this is used to specify the kind of list that we want to have. Maybe we want it to be number or we want it to be alphabet, just like any other format that we have for list. And this is you'd have seen this in trying Google Doc. So and inside of here now I can now start moving in the list. So let me copy this now. So you can see what we have here. We have the list which is like bulleted. So if I change this to ordered list, change this to OL and hit save, you can see that we have 1 year. So let me move this a little bit. So you can see now that we have one. And if I change this back to U, you can see that we have the bullet. So this just have to do with like knowing what you want to do and then you can change it. So just know that to create list, you have to use the UL tag with the list inside. Let me just bring them in like this. So I just copy this directly so that I can have them like that. So now that we have this now, you can see what we have. So we have all the list over here, and then that's what we are just going to have for this section. So if you want, you can make this an ordered list to be 1 2 3 to 8, or you make it as UL, so that's fine as well. So I'm just going to change this to on ordered list. So the next section we are going to be looking at is going to be the pricing section. So the pricing section is going to be where we are going to be making use of table to showcase how much the barbershop is charging for a particular type of customer. So that's what we are going to be doing. And to start with this, we are going to have an H2, and this H2 is going to have pricing. So we can see we have pricing here, and then let's see how this is looking so far. So we have the welcome to barbershop, the logo, we have a call to action here, then we have a fine image over here, and then we have the hairstyles that we are telling the customer to try out in 2024. And now we want to tell them like, okay, this is the hairstyles are available and here is the pricing, which is very, very important for businesses. So we can now go ahead and have a table tag. So we want to, display the price in a table. So it makes sense because naturally, if you want to show pricing, you can show it in a table. The first thing is like you can show it in a table, and a tabular form is always a go-to. So with table tag in HTML now, for a table, we have a table head and then we have a table body. So the table head is where the headings are going to be. So if you want to show the heading, we are going to make use of the T head. So this T head now is where we are going to be showing the table data like the type and then the amount. So now we have the TR tag. So this is table row. So we have the table, which is like we are saying like, okay, everything that is going to be within this table are going to be like table tags. So and then we have the table head to specify like this is the head of the table, and then we specify a row. So we want the table head items to be in a row. So we can have table head, and this table head is going to be type. and then we are going to have another one. I just copied and paste. You can do Control C and V to make multiple copies of an element. So the next one is price. So if I hit save now and scroll down, you can see that we have type and price here. So to show a border, you know, a table always have a border that divides them. What we can do is to come here and add a border of 1. So every tag has different attributes. Like I said, we are going to have a dedicated video for parts and then attributes of HTML elements. So, but with this, the table tag has a border attribute that we can use to specify the border that we want. If you would like, we can change this to 10. You can see how big it is, but we just want to stick to just 1. So we want it to have a border of 1, which is going to look something like this. So now that we have the head, we can also have the T body. So the T body is going to be where the body of this heading are going to be. And for this as well, we are going to have the TR tag, and then we can have the TD tag, which is like the table data. So this is the table head, and then this is the table data. So what we've done so far is just to use a table tag, and in a table tag we have the table head, because when you want to create a table, there's always like an heading when you want to say maybe like name, age, and then under it you have the table body where you be like your name is Samuel, your age is 28 or 29. So that's basically what we are trying to do here as well. So with this now, the type of customers and pricing are what we are going to be displaying here. So now the first set are going to be for adult haircut. So for adult haircuts now, price of this is going to be for 1,000 naira, and then we have it here, adult haircut 1,000 naira. So to create another table row, so these are rows. So these are rows. So we have row. That's why we are using row for the heading as well. This is a row, and then we have another row to display this group of data. So next one is we are going to have another table row. So this table row now is going to have a TD data. So and then this is going to be for youth haircut. So let me just copy the text from here and then paste it here. So we have the youth haircut, and this is going to be going for 800 naira. So we are just going to add it like this. So the reason I'm using meaningful data is because just have it in mind, like you are going to be building a website for businesses. So these data are going to be collected from your customers. So these are data that, you know, they are going to be available from your customers. And these are questions you can ask them. What are the pricing list? So you can just pick any business in your area or from any of your friends or family, and then you can gather the data and then try to represent them on a website. So basically, these are things that businesses have. They have a logo. We ask for the logo. We put it on the same part as the index.html. Ask them, do you have any slogan? Add it here. Then take a picture. Maybe you can even take a picture of them barbing and then use it like this. And then you can get their hairstyles, even if it is cake, different kind of cakes. Put it here with the pricing. So that's basically what we are doing. So we are not going to be using any dummy data like lorem. So yeah, so moving on, we are just going to, I'm just going to copy the remaining two and then paste it here. So what we just did here is for every row, we are having a row tag and then we are representing the data. But one thing you should be aware of is like you should arrange the data based on the heading. So if I save now, you can see like the type now, the 1,000 naira is falling under the type, which is not how it's supposed to be. So, and the adult haircut is falling under the price, which is wrong. So you just want to ensure that you are arranging it properly. So the type is at the front, is at the top. So the adult haircut too should be at the top. So if you move it down now, you can see like these have a different meaning. So that's basically how it's going to be. So we have the table head and then we have the table body. So table head contains like the headings. So we have table head, it contains the heading that we want for our table. So and for the table body, they contain each data for heading. So this is one data: adult haircut 1000 naira, youth haircut we have 800 naira, and beard trim 300 naira, edge job 300 naira. So that's basically what we have here. So you can see have different use cases, and then we also have different tags for each of these use cases. So you just understanding like, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want it to be like a regular text, or I want it to be on a list, or I want it to be in a table? So if you understand, like, oh, I want to create a table, then even if you don't remember the structure of the tag, you can just go online and then search for how to make a table. So that's basically it. But this is how you can easily start with creating tables in HTML. So the next section we are going to be creating now is the media section. So the media section is going to contain like audios and videos that the customers have. So let's say for instance now maybe they have like a Luffy song or a music that they want their customers to listen to when they are barbing, like maybe suggested music, so they can come to their website and then play it while they are barbing their hair or something like that. So that's basically it. And yeah, so to get this audio and video now, just ensure like they are also in the same folder as the HTML and the images, and then remember the names you use for them. So I've saved this as audio, and then I've saved this as video. So I'm going to be making this available as a resource. There will be a link in the video description as well. But you can get any video that you have or any audio that you have, and then you can just move them to the same folder as the index.html. So now, if we check our Explorer in VS Code now, you can see that we have the video. So I just have this video of a female trying to fix a woman here. And then I have the one for audio, which is like 5 minutes. It's just like a sound that you can that a user can just play. It could be any music, that's fine. So the next thing we just have to do now is to now use the correct tag to display audio, how to also display video. So to display video, before then we just have an h2 tag. You know, for every section we want to tell the users that this is the section. So for this section now, when they are scrolling, they know that, oh, these are hairstyles, and for this section they know that this is pricing. So and now for this section we'll just have a caption that says have fun why we make you beautiful. So we are giving them like suggested audios and videos to watch while they are either waiting for their turn, or that they can play while they are barbing their hair. So that's basically it. So we can also make use of the h4 tag here, and then the h4 tag is going to be to specify like, okay, you can listen to nature, this is a Luffy music, and then there will be another one for video. So if I scroll down here, you can see what we have fun while we make you beautiful. So if I set this to 100, you can see how it is over here now. So to add audio, we have a tag known as audio. So this is an audio tag, and then it has a source tag. So this source tag is where we are going to use to specify the source of the audio. So this is the audio tag, and then it has source. So unlike the image where you just add source directly in the tag, or for audio, it has a closing tag. So you can just use audio, then specify the source. So in this source now, we can just type source and then do dot back, or just dot, and then you see the audio. Add the audio, and then nothing will be shown yet because we are not specifying a control. So the behavior of the audio tag, you should understand that every tag has different behaviors. They have different ways of using them. So you just have to accept that, because the way you are going to be making use of this tag is different from the way this tag is being structured. It's different from how we are using the table tag. So that's the first thing you should have in your mind. Like one of the things you should have in your mind, like all tags are not the same. they have different attributes, different behaviors, and different ways of working with them. So to make our audio appear here now, we have to pass in the controls here. So this control is going to make a visual for us to be able to play the control play, fast forward, mute or increase volume or more control from here. So we just have to pass in the controls here. So now that this is being displayed, a user can play it. I don't know if you can hear this. So the user can play this, and that's basically what the audio is being used for. So the next thing we want to now do is to add the video. So we've already added the audio, listen to nature. So it's a lofi music, so you can just listen to nature. So the next one is for us to have an H4 tag here, and then we can do movie, watch movie here. And to display a video, we are going to be making use of the video tag, and then it's going to also have the source, and this is a self-closing tag. And then we are going to specify the source, and we can do back and do video. So this is the backslash, and then we specify the video. Then also we are not seeing any control here. We are just seeing picture over here. So we want to show the control just like the audio. So the control will be what we'll be using to play and increase the volume. So we can just pass the controls here, and then we can see the control. So you can see we can now play the video like this. You can see that's basically what the use case for video and audio tag are for. So if you don't pass this control, the control is not going to be visible, and then users will find it difficult to play the video. So we just want to pass in the control, like, okay, show the control for this video, and then you can play them, you can mute them, you can also set it as a large screen, anything that you can do with videos, naturally video players. That's what you'll be able to do here as well. So that's that for this particular section where we are for media section. So the next one is the about section. So we can do section here, and then we have our heading, and it's going to be about us. So for every businesses have a story to tell. So and then we want to include it in this section for the barbershop as well. So for this, I'm just going to copy the about section that I have written here. So I can just have a p tag and then paste it between it. So this is what we have. You can see about us and then a little story, and you can be more creative, just add what you want. You can add images here as well if you want, that's fine. And so this is basically what we are going to have for the about section for this barbershop. So the next one we are going to be having is the contact session. So for the contact session, we can have a section here, and then we can have our H2 to be contact us, and then we can have maybe any tag. It could be H3, and then let me copy the text that we have here. So paste it here. So, and then we have the text here. Contact us is how customers or users can reach out to you or to a business to get information about your business or to make any booking. So everything we've been doing here is output, because we are outputting text, images, videos, tables. We are outputting data in a table, in a list format, in image format, visuals, then in text. So these are all outputs. This, you already have the data and then you are outputting it, just like what I said, like have that mentality. Like websites or web are in two ways. It's either in input or output. So everything we've been doing is output. We already have the data, we are just outputting it using a specific tag in HTML. So we have the H1 for headings, P for ordinary text. We are using videos, tag to display video outputs and audio outputs using the audio tag. So that's basically it. So once you understand, like, I want to display this in this particular format, then I have to look for the right tag. So that's basically what you should be thinking around. So for this contact now, we want to take input. So it's going to be different from everything we've been doing. So we are going to be making use of the form tag. So normally, when you want to take an input from a user, you want them to fill a form. So in HTML, we have the form tag as well. So this form tag is where we are going to be adding any other input components, maybe like the text area for users to input their information. So that's basically what we are going to be using. So the first one is we have the input tag. Yeah, so it is input. So we want to take information from a user, and then we want them to input it using this tag. So this is the input tag. So if I save now, you can see that we have this. Let me zoom in. So you can see that we have this little box where we can type, let's say maybe type our name. So you can see that we can type in here. We cannot type in this text because these are just outputs, but this is an input for user to input their information. So, but now it is kind of like confusing because we don't really know what this form is. We don't know what are we entering here. Is it a number? Is it a text? We don't know. So that's where for every input there is a label. When you visit any website and you want to sign up, you will see a label there whether you should enter a username or a password. So there's a tag known as label. So this label tag is used along with form elements, and then we can just say this is let's enter your full name. So enter name. So this name now is going to be beside the input box like this. So I can just, let me make this more smaller. So we have the name here. So you can see we have the name here. And next we are going to have a new label tag. And this label tag is going to be for address. So we can have another input. So this is input for the address, and then we can have another one, another label for other details, uh, details, or maybe it could be message, anything they want to pass on to the business owner. And then we have another tag known as text area. So this text area is larger than the other tags. So you can see we have name, we have address, other details. So this allows the user to write more text. So because this can contain more text compared to others. So let's say for instance, I copy this now and I paste it here, you can see like this doesn't increase, but with this now, I can increase it to use it to be much more bigger. So that's basically what we are doing here. So that's the reason we are having the text area tag. So, and if you want this to be on a new line, we can use the break tag. So the break tag is basically used to make another text jump on a new line. So if you want it to break, so that's basically what we can do. So we can add this, more of this, and you can see it's creating more space. So that's basically the importance of using the BR tag. So this is a break tag. It's just used to create new line. So if you want a space between an element, so you can add the break tag there, and it's going to add it on a new line. So that's basically why we have it here. So if we add it here as well, you can see that the address is on a new line. If you make it 2, you can see that we have it on a new line, and it has equal spacing here as well. So the next thing we want to do is, when a user fills a form, there's always a button for them to submit that form that they filled. So we're also going to be adding a button here. So to add a button, we have a button tag, and this button is going to have a submit label. So you can see the submit. So for it to be on a new line, we just bring in the break tag. So the break tag is going to make it be on a new line, and then you can see I can type in my name, Ayodele Samuel Adebayo, and then address, let's say Nigeria, and other details. I'll be coming by 4 p.m. and then I can click on the submit button. So, the behavior of the submit button and form is whenever you click the submit, the page is going to reload. That's the normal way. And it is beyond the scope of this particular video. So as time goes on, you will understand how to get this data, whatever the user inputs here. How do we get it? Where do we store it? So these are the things we are going to be discussing later in the future. And yeah, so for now, let's learn how to take, represent the visuals of inputs and then output. So that's that for the form section. And then, yeah, so we could also have an H3 tag that says or. So this or is if you don't want to feed the form here, then you might probably want to chat with us in any of our social media. So to chat with us on any of our social media, we can use the P tag and do chat with us on X or Twitter. So you can have this bracket and have Twitter. So, and if you scroll down, you can see chat with us on X, Twitter, and then we can have our A tag. So there's a tag known as a tag, and this tag is used to add links. So, when you want to move from one page to another, so we are going to have a link to Twitter. And how this is going to work is we are going to just specify our username. So let's say, for instance, now I wanted to link to mine, so I will just say Unclebigbay. So you can see it is totally different compared to other tags that we've been using, because by default it has a color and then it is underlined. And when you hover on it, you can see that we have something showing here. So let's say, for instance, now I wanted to link to my own account on X, then I'm just going to put the link here in the href. So I can just do, let me get my Twitter. So I can do my Twitter. Let's do x.com/@Unclebigbay. That's my username. So we can just put it here. After saving, so click here, and then it's going to redirect to Twitter. So yeah, so it's going to redirect to my profile from here, so I can go back. So that's basically what the A tag is known for. And yeah, so I think we pretty much have all our sections covered already. So if you look from here now, we have the welcome to Barbershop, and then we have the logo of the Barbershop. We have some call to actions, and then we have images to show the barber barbing someone's hair, and then we have a list of hairstyles that the customer can try, and then we have the pricing that is being represented in table. This is represented in list, and then we have another section where the user can listen to either audio or video, and then we have little tags here, the h4 tag to sub-headings. So this is an heading, and then this is a sub-heading for each of the audio, and then we have the about section that talks about the business, and then we have the contact us section. So this is basically what, like, the minimum required for any business just to showcase their business. So just try as much as possible. You can be creative. You can use a cake business. You can be a rental business. It could be any store, maybe provision store. Just be creative, and then I hope you get the idea. So one thing I want to point out here is we've been in our code now, we just have section, section, section. And I know for now it is easier for us to identify each of the sections, like, okay, this one section, and then this another section here, another section here, another section here, another section here. But just imagine, like, we have a longer code base. So how do we identify, like, it being closed now? How do we identify, like, oh, what section is this? What section is this? What section is this? What sections are these? Even though, like, they are closed. So we want it to be much easier for us to identify each of the section. And that's where comment is going to come in. So there's something we call comment in programming, not only in HTML. So in the world of programming, there's something we call comment. So comments are for developers. So if you are working with a group of people, you want to leave a small note for them so that by the time they are going through your code, they understand what you are trying to do here. They understand what this section is meant for. So that's where we are going to be looking at comments in HTML. So to write comments in HTML, we have this symbol. So we have the less than, we have the exclamation, we have the dot dot, and then you can see my VS Code has already completed it for me. So this is what the symbol for commenting looks like in HTML. So you don't really have to memorize this for now. I know it's kind of like looks strange. What you can just do is to press the command or control key, then the backslash, and then you can create the symbol. So you can see you can add it or remove it. You can add or remove it like this. And then inside of here, we just want to give it a name, like this is the hero section. So this is the hero section now, and you can see now that it makes more sense, and we can easily identify each of the section by just looking at the comment. So over here as well, I'll just press Control or Command and the backslash, and then you are going to have this, and then you can name this as the section is for hairstyles, and then you can see like it makes more sense. When we close this now, we have hero section, hairstyle section, and then for this we have the pricing, so we can name this as pricing as well. So for the next one, we can just do less than exclamation two dash, and then we can have the media section. So this is the media section where there is audio and video, and then the next section we have the about section. So less than exclamation dash dash, and then we can have the about or section. And then we can also have the contact us session, and then we can just use the short key and then use the contact us. So you can see the usefulness of adding comments. So this comment is not going to be appearing on the browser. You can see we don't have any of them appearing here. So these are just for developers. So comments are just for developers. They are just for developers, just for us to be able to know what this section are for. And if you want to like maybe leave a comment for yourself, maybe remove this section after you've learned how to use another tag, so something like that. You could also, your comment could be something like we can use div tag instead of a section tag. So you can use this comment as you are learning. You can just leave comments for yourself, like, okay, Unclebigbay said we can use div tag instead of section tag. So I'll just leave this note here. So whenever I'm looking at my code, I will know that, okay, I can actually use the div tag instead of the section tag. So that's one of the use cases of comments. So it is very, very important for you to know how this work. Yeah, so you can also add comment here and say form. So form. So with this, some code doesn't need comment. Like you already know that this is a form tag. So the most important one is just the section. Yeah, so that's basically it. Now let's look at how this look on big screen. So this is what we have on big screen, and starting from the top, we have the welcome to Barbershop, the logo. We have this call to action, we have this image, we have the section for here, pricing, tables, and the media section, the about us. We also have the contact us, and then a link to Twitter. So you can be more creative, add more text, use any type of images. Just try as much as possible to use all of these tags in your own web page as well, so that you can get yourself familiar with it. So guys, that will be all for this video. I hope you've already learned the basics of HTML. You already understand that we have different type of HTML tags and they have their own use cases. So we have tags for displaying text, we have tags for displaying images, we have tags for audio, we also have tags for forms. So depending on what you want to achieve, then you have to look for that specific tags, and also think in output and input. Like, we need a way to output information, and then we need a way to take in information. So just think around that, and then look for the tags that is more suitable for displaying this particular kind of output. What tag is suitable for input as well? So let me know in the comment section if you have any question. I'm happy to help. Your assignment is going to be in the video description, and if you want to check out the assignment and fill it, I'm going to be taking a look at each of them, and then I can provide feedback where necessary as well. So see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.